All right, back from a brief hiatus. We're going to start day 3. Our random words here, and today we will be doing sky, prison, and ludicrous. That should be interesting. Lectians as a subspecies have an intense fascination with heights. Ancestors of the subspecies generally altered their human form to take on more bird-like attributes. Shorter stature, lighter bones, larger, exotically colored wings, all so that they could fall a bit slower on Earth norm worlds. Lex as a planet was not particularly Earth-like in this way. Smaller in size, it has lower gravity and recently an artificially denser atmosphere. Ancient tectonic activity has the planet littered with some of the largest and sharpest mountain peaks in the colonized worlds, relative to its planet size anyway. It was a natural place for the Lectians to claim as their home world of their subspecies. Here, some among the Lectians are even capable of sustaining flight over short distances. Not to overly generalize about an entire subspecies of humanity, but Lectians are adrenaline junkies, every last one of them, looking for the next daredevil thing that could do to push that limit of their thrills. As a result, they have the highest accidental death rate of all species in the known greater humanities. The freedom of being in the air is so fundamental to their way of living that even their prisons are confined with transparent dome pods suspended from the base of zeppelins high in the atmosphere. It was thought that enclosing a creature where they could not see the stretches of land below was cruel and unusual punishment of any crime. It was in one of these floating dome hells that I now find myself, though I am no Luxthian. The bird brains have little consideration for how others feel about their height fetish. When I first was thrown into my cell, I was in a constant state of terror. I passed out the first day, coming to after some time only to vomit at the realization of the height I was at. The vomit, like any fluid, dripped to the base of the dome where a small opening allowed the vial to fall through the air toward the ground below. Seeing this opening and watching the liquid fall, I passed out once more. This cycle continued for several days as I adapted to my conditions, and several weeks more went by before I really began to shake the fear. In all that time I had no visitors, no inquiries, nothing more than the routine guard delivering my meals. This was of course no surprise. I had not told anyone where I was going, and left home nearly 30 years ago to make the journey to the putrid system. It was supposed to be an opportunity to make some real money, but the reality of sublight speed travel manifested in the opportunity having been taken up some 15 years earlier. I could have accepted the loss, turned back, and in a short 30 years been back with my family, a blink of the eye in the scheme of things. But no, I had to try to prove myself. Who knew it was illegal to sell people run-down spacecrafts as though they were functional? Yeah, the bird brains didn't buy my attempt to play dumb either, so I ended up here in a 6-month sentence. I could see other prisoners in their own domes around me, though we could not speak with each other. They were all Luxthian anyway. In the month since I arrived, I never saw another member of the greater humanities that wasn't Lexian. That is until the Verum. Fighters descended on the Lexthians that were gliding between the mountaintops, completely unable to defend themselves. A dropship landed on the Zeppelin in which I was imprisoned, and I could hear them making their way through the guards. Then they began to work their way through each cell. They would strip the Lexians of the feathers, kill them, and toss the corpses back into the cells. When they got to my cell, I was certain I was dead. The hatch above me flew open. "Hey," This one's human, a deep voice from above said in shock. He reached down and lifted me from the cell with ease. The man was in a mechanized suit of some sort, but through his visor I could see that he retained the baseline human form, that form which we first left Earth with, the form that is common heritage to all of us. I, like most of humanity at this point, also retained the default human form, as did it seem every member of this attack force. "How'd you end up in a bird nest, little fella?" the man in the mech suit asked toyingly. I counted 3 of them in total in the hall. One continued to pluck feathers from dead Lexians, while another had come also to interrogate me. I assumed there was at least one more at the pilot of the dropship. "He certainly looks Verum. He certainly looks Verum, but is his mind such?" the second asked as he inspected me head to toe. What was Verum? I wasn't sure, but it was clear they had some deep-seated grudge with the Lexians. "Damned bird brains kept me locked up in there for months," I said, failing to hide my fear from my voice. "They sure as hell ain't no friends of mine." The man in the suit laughed and cried out, "Hell yeah!" The other also seemed satisfied with my answer, though before anything else could be said, there was an explosion at the dropship they had arrived in was blasted from above. "Son of a bitch!" The mech arms folded into machine guns, and the other 2 men raised rifles from their side, preparing for the incoming attack. It was the Lectian police force responding to the hostile attack on the planet. Within minutes the hall was alight with gunfire. The one that had questioned me pulled out a pistol and offered it to me. Verum means true. We are the true humans. All the subspecies are perversions on the perfection Mother Earth had achieved. Fight with us, brother. Fight for Verum, and we will eradicate all perversions from this universe. I took the pistol and I held it in my hands. What did he just say? Did people seriously think like that? He had turned back to fighting the Lexians. Sure, I had called them bird brains. I had looked down on their lifestyle, but this was a whole other level. Was I willing to fight for a preference of species? I might as well fight over a haircut at this point, for all the obstacle it was to change your subspecies. Still, if I did not fight, the Verum were certainly going to treat me the same as they had the Lectians. I turned the pistol over in my hand, gripped the handle, and squeezed the trigger. It was only as I did that I realized I had placed the barrel to the back of the man's head, the same one that had given me the gun, with such certainty that our appearance made us allies. I raised the barrel and fired another 2 shots into the back of the other unarmed human down the hall. From the mech I heard the scream, "Fucking traitor!" as he turned to me with a speed I could not react to. But an explosion sent the mech flying back. I dropped the gun and held my hands in the air, and the Lexian police came to secure the hall. One turned to me hesitant. His words were unclear to me in the moment. The preceding blast and searing pain in my chest split my focus. What did he say? Verum scum. I collapsed to the hall floor, where I bled out amongst those assumed to be my allies because I looked like them.